beginning of the summer riots, frustrated people. Some politicians seem to be stoking the flames. Some media groups seem to be trying to endorse what is just wrong behavior, whichever way you look at it, whatever the frustrations leading up, and accusations of two-tier policing. I think on the two-tier policing front, and when the pro-Palestine marches have been brought into question and used as an example of how the police supposedly have gone light with one group and more heavy-handed with the other. I think there's one obvious thing that you can see glaring out in the equation. These marches that were going on every weekend were much, much larger than what's been taking place in the last week. There was some disturbances, some disruptions, and I think the police did, take down some people and cut them off. The main thing I think that you can sort of pull out from both of these protests is, if the police are being attacked or a fight starts, they're going to obviously be defending their corner and looking to protect themselves. And also they've got their role to play with upholding the law, and however they deal with these type of situations. So if they're prepared, which with a pre-organized protest or rally or whatever, they're going to probably have the people their people in the wings that they can pull out if they need to, if things go a bit crazy. When it's a more spontaneous protest or march or rally, they're probably going to be caught more wrong-footed. So in terms of two-tier policing, I think that could be one of the reasons why, excuse me, these smaller protests, which have turned into bigger riots, have been dealt with in that way. Some of it is just logical common sense. If you got a protest and you got police who are there to sort of keep things in check, and somebody's breaking somebody's wall or whatever and lobbing bricks at them or whatever else they end up throwing at them and turning over police cars and setting them alight, then they're going to react in a way that's going to be relevant to what's coming at them. So if they're policing a protest and there's some disruptors, they pull them out, do what they're going to do. The peaceful people in the protest continue on. If they're policing the protest and majority of or a large enough number of the protesters start lobbing stuff at them and it turns into a violent confrontation, then that's going to turn into a riot. So they're going to deal with that accordingly. So I think a lot of this two-tier policing thing isn't so much that. I think it's just dealing with the situation they find themselves in accordingly. And if this turns into a riot, whoever the rioting group is, they're going to deal with them in a certain way. There's no way they're going to be, standing around being, destroyed and attacked and not react in whatever way they're trained to react in. So that's how I see part of that. And also the stuff that went on in London. I mean, London is the capital city, and the closer you get to Parliament, I think the heavier the security and the protection is going to be for those parts of town and the people who they're going to be protecting, particularly on Downing Street. So I don't think it's strange to see a heavier approach to anyone who's protesting close to Downing Street and the centre of British politics. So the media tend to sort of skirt over some of those observations when they're comparing what happened in London this week and last week and anything that happened in other parts of the country. There's, when you stop and think about it, probably quite a few obvious reasons to why the treatment and the behavior was different at the different protests and how some of them ended up as riots and how they dealt with them. So I don't know if that's the two-tier policing thing is really a bona fide justification for allowing people to destroy, somebody's community, because somebody lives in those places where those walls are being broken up for weapons to lob at the police or whoever they're lobbing them at. And why do they pick the particular places they've picked to protest at? It's how have those people contributed to the protesters, the things that are driving them to protest, and why they feel disenfranchised, I think the word is, and they feel they haven't got a voice or an outlet for their the things they're not happy about. How does it relate to protesting outside a mosque and breaking the windows and attacking some guy who's just coming from work because he has a different complexion from your average Caucasian person? I just think some of these things, when I hear mainstream media, or let's say mainstream online media, trying to do somersaults to kind of justify and make the some of the actions that we've seen on the streets justified in some way or another, I just find it a little bit difficult to sort of to digest the fact that they are, without coming out and blatantly saying, yeah, I support what I've seen going on there, in multiple words, like I seem to go on a bit, they are finding ways to say, well, the people are frustrated and, it's the police's fault, it's the government's fault, it's Tom, Dick and Harry's fault. It's just bad behavior. It doesn't matter who it's coming from. Me, this person, that group, that. Bad behavior is bad behavior, destructive behavior is destructive behavior. Now, protesting, yeah, bona fide. Finding a voice and a way to express yourself, bona fide. Being misled by fake social media posts or whatever it might be, I don't even think that's a strong enough excuse to say, okay, well, people ended up, beating up, attacking the police, some members of the public, trying to break windows and, people's property because somebody said something on social media. Very, very hard things to weigh up and reach a conclusion that it justifies this behavior. Like I said, wherever it's coming from, whoever it's coming from, there's different ways to put your voice across. And the same said politicians who might be trying to be the Trumpian type voice, and I don't think it comes across the same as what Trump's doing in America, speaking for the disenfranchised or whoever he's representing. I don't think it comes across the same when some of these British politicians try to stand in that position and want to be the people who are the voice of the working man and the funny thing is, I don't see these politicians and even some of the media commentators as the working person, the working man themselves, as they're actually those people, so they can relate to them and speak for them. And, you can kind of see what the motives are and, why some of them will take that stance, because it's, you're trying to climb that political ladder. The more people, numbers you can get supporting you, the probably stronger position it puts you in. If you're going to willing to go down that route and get behind something that is, in principle, maybe not the most, how can I say, all-inclusive stance, view, socially speaking, and also getting behind something that is just represented as destructive behavior. So yeah, protest, fine. Finding a voice somehow, I'm not that politically driven to say I would want to, invest the time to get a particular voice heard or anything like that. But there are means and ways. If anybody feels that strong, I think we're in a country where there's vehicles, there's ways, there's your MP, there's forming a group, we're less restricted than a lot of people are in some countries where you just be taken off the chessboard if you stick your neck out too far. But over here, we have a degree of freedom of speech, if you want to define it as that. So short of destructive, riotous behavior, there are other ways to put your voice across. And for now,